Hey, what's up guys, I'm Joe and this is a Bradford gate. Hey guys, we're back here on site here in Little Rock. This is a commercial setting where they're building a new manufacturing facility, but they needed a storage area and some fenced in yard space in the meantime. So I wanted to revisit. If you recognize, we've obviously got the rest of the fence up, but this is where we discussed specifically about laying out a cantilever gate. So I was going to walk through what we laid out here and how that looked in real life once post set and the gates are up with this cantilever gate. As we talked before in the previous video, we laid this out to be a 24-foot opening. So between our latch post here and our first gate post is 24 feet, which is a good opening. You can see maybe the lift back there in the back. They've got some big equipment and large trucks and trailers that'll be coming through here. So just as a reference for the width, 24 feet is pretty close to like a 2-lane road. So that's quite a bit of distance to get whatever you need through here. And you can plan and accommodate different openings. You know, this is getting pretty wide for a single. You could do up to about a 30-foot opening for a single gate, and then wider than that, you'd probably be looking at a double. But with that anyway, this is a 24-foot opening. And then with our counterbalance, like we talked before, it's half of the distance of the opening, and then typically plus 1 foot just for extra as far as the width of the gate. But the counterbalance here we've got at half of the distance of the opening. So between this post here and this post here, that's roughly 12 feet to hold the weight of this gate when it's closed, and then also support it when it's open. So what the cantilever in itself is just referring to the fact that the gate is wider than the opening, and then is supported by these rollers here. There's 2 rollers here, and then 2 rollers here, and then that allows that counterbalance, or that cantilever allows for the rollers to support the gate in both the closed and the open position, but it makes it to where you don't have to have something that's actually going to roll along the ground. So you can see in this case, whether it's closed or open, there's nothing that actually has to roll along the ground. So in this case, like with the gravel lot, it's nice because you don't have to have the roughness or the bumpiness of a gate sliding back and forth. So that's your counterbalance. You got these 2 posts set really well to hold the gate. And then here, as it's closed, it's holding it this way, but then it pretty easily slides back, and you get that good 24-foot opening. And you can see it that it's also supports it as it's open. These rollers here they've got covers on them it's just a safety cover that nobody gets something stuck in there, put a hand or finger in there. But then these are nylon rollers, so they're a very heavy duty nylon that hold up really well, but also they operate and roll real smoothly. So just you can see how easy that was just to open or close it just by hand. It doesn't take much force to slide that thing through those nylon rollers. So those are really nice rollers. Sometimes on the old school cantilever gates, you'll see a metal roller, which the metal obviously is tougher and harder than the nylon, but they over time can get more bound up and not be as smooth of an operation. So we really like these nylon rollers here. And then as far as the gate, the way it is, if you remember our last video when we were laying this out, I was running string line and doing line levels from this area where the back of the gate's gonna be all the way to where the latch post is. And so we found that it was pretty level, and you can see that's true now with where it's in place. The distance below the gate is pretty similar, either when it's opened or closed, which is important because if you have a lot of slope in a cantilever gate, it can throw things off. So that's probably the biggest limiting factor of the cantilever gate, is that if there's a lot of elevation change or slope, you've got to plan for that accordingly. With this being pretty level, we've got our rollers as far down toward the ground as possible, and then it's pretty level from here to there, so they're both down pretty close, and then it's pretty level through the gate opening. So you can see it's pretty consistent, that it's about a 5 or 6 inch reveal or gap there below, and that's really just due to the space that you need for your rollers below it, and then the space you need above it, which when you're planning on your post setting, you do have to make sure that you are getting long enough post, one, to go deep enough to support this gate, but two, you want to make sure you got extra height on these two back counterbalance gates or posts, so that you've got room to put your rollers and attach them above the top line of the fence here. We talked about the opening and the spacing of our two back counterbalance posts, but one thing to keep in mind, because a lot of times people get locked into, I need 24 feet for my opening and then I need half the distance for my counterbalance, but the biggest thing is to verify how long your actual gate's gonna be. So in this case, it's 24 feet. We did this gate at 37 feet overall, which gives us a little bit of margin. But what we did when we laid this out is, yes, we talked about we need 24 feet here and we need roughly 12 feet there. But before we set any of those posts, we made sure that our latch post all the way back to our back roller post was not gonna be further than the overall width of the gate. So that could be something that can be a gotcha if you don't, you get caught up in I need an opening and I need roughly half of that, but then you don't verify that from end to end that you are within or a little bit less than your overall width of your gate. So something to keep in mind when you're actually in the field and getting these posts set where you want them. Okay, then on the latch, now this is just a manual gate, so it's just manual slide open and closed. If it had an operator on it, you could do something similar. You just wouldn't want to have a lockable bolt because the actual motor would be what holds it in place. But you can see there's a little bit of give as you're rolling, so you've got this Y yoke that it rolls into. And then now this is the inside of the property. So if you're wanting to lock it, you would want to lock it from the outside, but you could go here, have your little slide bolt, put this through, and then you actually got a place where you can lock it up that prevent anybody from opening this thing up if you're needing to lock this down. Okay, so that's the ins and outs of a chain link cantilever gate, and hopefully that's helpful to see the actual finished product and in real life what that looks like once you're trying to plan and lay out a project like this. But these are great functional gates for the right purposes. Hopefully that's helpful. Make sure and like this video, it helps out a ton, and subscribe to the channel for more gates just like this.